everybody. This is Kelly from Intent, and I'm so delighted today to introduce you to Jenny Stoner, who has not only been a dear friend of mine for almost a decade now, but is truly an inspirational, just an inspirational human, an inspirational coach for mortgage originators. And she has such a fascinating story about how she became a coach, and I'm just so delighted to welcome her. Jenny, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, friend. Thanks for having me.
Can you tell me and tell us all a little bit about sort of the journey of your career to this day?
Yeah. So I started in the mortgage business in 1997, one day after I graduated from college. So like as soon as I was an adult, I started doing mortgages, and I started in ops, started processing, led a processing team, and have been in mortgages ever since, with the exception of a few years where I went to go handle the finances for my church. When I came back to the business after that small stint, I decided to originate. So I'd been originating loans since about 2000, and I did it wrong for a long time. I let the stress of the business get to me. That's just the truth. It became my life. It began to run my life, and it wore me out. And over the course of that time, I developed rheumatoid arthritis, which kind of just took me down. And I realized at that point, something had to change. And so I had, I probably worked at 5 or 6 companies over my mortgage career, all which taught me great things, and I'm very grateful for. But it wasn't until about 4 years ago that I started seeking out professional help that things really started to change for me. So I went from stressed out and chaotic to calm, cool, and collected. And it changed everything for me. So, yeah.
And I think it was an interesting thing to watch too, because obviously I knew you at the time. We worked together. And to see sort of that transition even happen in you was so beautiful to watch that experience. You had always had such a heart for people and for helping people and for making, for your realtors, you were really the first person who said, I'm going to make these realtors a family. Okay. These are going to be.
Oh, they were. Yeah.
Right?
Loved my agents. Brunches at my house. Like it was a great opportunity for me. I'm a lover of people, just who I am. And so it was a great opportunity for me to take my business into my personal life and become a lover of my agents. So, yeah.
So I think for most mortgage originators, when they hear like all of my realtors are friends with one another and we're a tribe and we hang out in Facebook groups and they come to my house for brunch, they're like, that seems crazy strange, right?
Yeah. But it was natural for me because we set up an environment where they could be colleagues. They were from different brokerages. They were from different areas of town, and it was a safe place for them to come together and just talk about challenges and things that were working for them. And we would kind of present it as, tell us a challenge you're going through and let the group help you. It became a family. It really did.
I mean, I was lucky enough to attend some of those brunches, and I think what was always really meaningful to me was that, this was I think when you're, most of the time it was females. And I feel like so often we all feel alone in our struggles, right? So like, I'm the only realtor who's going through this. I'm the only loan officer going through this. And then you sit in a room full of very capable, intelligent humans who say, gosh, I'm having that same problem. And it's so nice to have that camaraderie.
Yeah. People want to go there. They just need somebody to facilitate an environment to do that and invite them into that. And it was a beautiful thing for several years.
Well, you currently are a coach. Tell me about 2 things I'm interested in. One is the impact that coaching had on your career, and then what made you take a look at it and go, I'm bringing this to other people.
Yeah. Oh gosh, those are great questions. I can't even begin to tell you how much it changed my life. I mean, you watched it, right? So you saw it firsthand. I literally went from allowing the stress to put me in the emergency room, like legit in the emergency room, and they ran scans and they ran tests, and I was in there for hours, and the doctor came to me and said, well, we got all the results back, and Miss Stoner, you have a stress problem. And I went, that's all this is? Like, that was my response. I'm like, well, I'm in the mortgage business. Of course I have a stress problem. I thought it was an occupational hazard. That's the truth. I thought the stress and the way of life that I was living was an occupational hazard. But when it started to affect my health that way, and I saw the possibility of it affecting my family, I'm like, I got to change something. And so I just started looking around at different coaching companies, and there are a lot out there. A lot of them get great results for tons of clients. I had to find the one that fit who I was. And that's when I found DC Coaching. Shira McKenzie was a friend of mine through you, actually. And she had been at Fairway, which is where I was right before I finished originating. And they fit who I was, right? They were relationship-based coaches. They used a lot of social media and video, and I love that. And I'm like, I could learn from these people. And I'll be honest, I went in thinking that they were going to teach me about my business. And they did, but they taught me a lot more about life. They taught me a lot more about how to, I did not have the tools to handle the stress. I didn't know they existed. And they taught me that. And slowly, not overnight, but slowly, I began to see changes in the way I was allowing things to affect me. I had a history of, I could get business in the door. I never really had a big challenge with that before, but I could not handle the business that was coming in with excellence the way I wanted it to be handled without letting it stress me out. And so they taught me how to do that. And I could not seem to keep team members on my team. Like, we would hire somebody and we'd train them, and I'd pour my heart and soul into them. I mean, we called it mortgages with a personal touch. We love to love on our clients and our agents. And then the people I'd hired, which were great people, would be like, Jenny, I don't want to do this. So I was like starting all over again. And so they helped me figure out how to identify the right team members, how to become a leader that they wanted to follow. I had a lot to learn, and they helped me learn that. So I was a client of theirs for a little over 3 years. It changed my life and my business. It really did. And I began, about a year before I made the decision, I began to be like, if I could help other people not do what I did, I would feel really fulfilled. And the opportunity came about. They were hiring another coach, and they're like, Jenny, we're hiring somebody. We would love for you to consider it. And at first I'm like, are you kidding me? I finally got my business like a well-oiled machine, just like I wanted. I'm not walking away from it now. But because Fairway is awesome and my team is awesome, they are still actually thriving, which is so fun for me to see. They're still serving people with excellence. And then I'm able to spend a lot of my time helping other people. What I'm so passionate about is helping people build a business that provides margin for them to do the things they love with the people they love, whether that's financial margin or time margin. You know, people get in this business to have the freedom and flexibility, and then they don't have it because they don't create it. And so I feel like I can help them create it. So that was a lot.
No, it's awesome. But I would say in my database alone, I have 14,000 loan officers across the country. Mm-hmm. In my social media platforms, I have probably another 10 to 15,000. There's obviously going to be crossover there, but it is all I've heard, all I've seen, all I've read for the entire year of 2020. Do you even see your family? Is your spouse getting upset because of how much you're working? Does anyone else feel like they're underwater? And it's like, you feel it, you know? I mean, I stopped making videos for our customers at Intent, because we used to make one every Monday, but nobody was opening those emails. Nobody was watching them because everyone it has just been so slammed. Yeah. And it's hard when the business comes at you, right? I mean, you know that. It's hard when the business is there to not take another loan, to not do another thing, but it pushes into your life.
It does. And one of the things we are telling our clients now is there is a capacity that you got a capacity. You got to figure out what that is with the life that you want to build. It is possible to systematize your business and fine tune your processes and get efficient with those things. I love that part. Like, that's my jam. I love to help people do that. But even with those, there is a capacity, and it's like a restaurant, right? If you go to a really nice restaurant, they only have so many tables.
Yeah.
And when they're full, you either get on the wait list or you go somewhere else. And there's no hard feelings. It's not a personal thing. And so few originators look at their business that way. They're like, I just got to take it. There's this like disease that you have to make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
You know, well, the sun's probably going to be shining for a while. So let's make sure you don't die while the sun's shining, right? And so just helping people navigate through, what is my capacity? Can I hire to handle the capacity that's coming in? How do I become a leader to those people? How do I systematize my business? That's huge right now. Most people aren't having trouble getting business in the door.
Right.
They're having trouble handling the business that's coming in the door. So it's really fun for me to help people do that. Yeah, brings me a lot of joy.
And you've been working with realtor groups too. Is that kind of
a
new thing you're doing?
So when I started coaching, like being a coaching client, I kept saying, my agents need this, like my agents, and I would start teaching my agents what I was learning in coaching. I mean, our industries are so similar. The things we struggle with are really similar to what they struggle with. And so when I came on board as a coach, we started a realtor division. And so we have 2 groups of realtors now that meet with us, and it's been so fun to see the results they're seeing. Is so often agents are just taught, when somebody calls them and wants to go see a house, they're like, awesome, what time works for you? Mm-hmm. Right? Well, that client's going to pick 8 p.m. on a Friday night. Like, that's what's good for them, right? And just being able to show agents that you can show up and be like, awesome, I can't wait to talk to you. Here's a link to my calendar. Pick a time that works for you guys, and we'll go out and see those houses. That transforms lives for agents. And it's been really fun to see our agents kind of grow underneath our coaching umbrella. And I've always loved agents, so that made me really happy to be able to offer that to them.
Well, you know, it's interesting because you bring up something that, I mean, you and I have obviously talked about with agents and with everyone for years, is that there does seem to be something about these 2 industries and boundaries that it's like, you know, if my real estate agent calls me at 11 p.m., I have to answer that because it's the real estate agent, you know, and really being able to stop and say, like, you do have to have boundaries with your customers, with your referral partners. You have to have boundaries with everybody, and you have to save some space for yourself.
Yeah, or you burn out. And it's one of the things we teach that I call serving versus pleasing, right? As an originator, we are taught to do whatever we can do, no matter what it takes, to make the agent and the client happy. And that actually is not serving them, because what that means is somebody texts me on a Saturday when I'm at the ball field trying to watch some sports happening, and can you talk to this client? We're out in the car right now. We need to make an offer. Right there, in a panic. I get in a panic. I go take the application on a sticky note in my car. I don't get good information. I can't give a good, valuable pre-approval to them that I know is going to be rock solid. And then I'm bitter because they took me away from my family and what I wanted to do. That's pleasing. And that's how 99% of realtors live. Serving would be, awesome, I can't wait to talk to you. Here's a link to my calendar. Set up a time to chat with me Monday when I can give you my full attention. And then I take a full pre-approval on the phone. I look at their documents. I give them a rock solid pre-approval that agent can take to the bank. That's serving them, right? And here's the truth that I discovered. Agents really appreciated that I lived my life that way, because deep down, they wanted to live that way too.
Yeah. Oh,
they also had kids on the soccer field that they felt like they were being pulled away from. And when I could show them that you could have a great life and a great business and set up great boundaries and still give great service, they were like, maybe I can do that too. So.
And if you find somebody who says, like, your boundaries don't work for me, then you know that that's not a relationship that matches.
Yeah, and you're totally fine. That's part of living in abundance, where I'm like, that is totally okay. Like, for me, my Sundays were like, we had church, we had life group. I went back and served with the youth on Sunday night. It was hard to get me on a Sunday. And I would have agents that if they absolutely had to get a pre-approval on Sunday and they had not connected me with them before, they would call another lender. And I was totally fine with that because I couldn't serve them well anyway. I couldn't take an application in between life group and youth group, and it doesn't serve them. So it's learning how you really serve somebody with excellence and being okay if they need to go somewhere else to get that service.
We had, when we were working together in the Charlotte offices, right? Mm-hmm. We obviously had a very big competitor right down the street from us. Yeah. And their business model was, we're going to pay to be in offices of real estate agents. Mm-hmm. And we as a collective group had decided, you know what, we're not doing this. We're not buying leads and we're not doing this. We are just going to give the best possible customer service that exists. Yep. And as a branch, we did that and we're highly successful doing it. As a team, you guys were the superstars of just a shining example to the rest of everybody to say, like, this is how you really can treat your realtors. This is really what we offer that's very, very different. Not only are we going to close this loan, not only are we going to make them so glad that they referred somebody over to us, but they're our family.
Yeah. Yeah, they totally were. And, we lived in a way where, and I got this from coaching, being a coaching client, we lived in a way where we actually attracted clients and we could give them to our agents. Mm-hmm. And that breeds so much more loyalty, in my opinion, than writing a check.
I cannot say it enough every single day. And I truly think it's such an interesting thing, because here we were 8 years ago doing this, doing this process of just like, we're going to wow these people, period. Mm-hmm. And we're not going to throw cash out the window. And yet everyone kind of got into that Zillow and lead buying game. And yet now all I see are people who are like, oh, wait, hold on a second. Like I have these leads I can give people. And you're like, yeah, you do. You guys have been building databases for years. You've set the bar for customers so high that it's not a question of whether they're going to go to their bank to get a loan. They're going to call you.
Yeah. And then especially in environments like this, right? This is when rates are low. I hear from clients every day and I'm like, Stoner Venable team still closing loans, right? Kim loves me and hates me all at the same time. But yeah, I mean, that kind of relationship breeds loyalty. And that's how I live my life, right? I just want to do right by people, and it comes back around.
I think that living karmically like that and really just investing in other people is the only way to do it. So if you had sort of, give me your like top 3 little nuggets that we can leave people with today, because as we're they're going to stay busy. Like you said, there's not going to be a lack of business here anytime soon. It's going to stay busy. We're about to face the holidays. What are 3 things that you can tell people as they're rounding out Q4 and little nuggets you can give them?
Gosh, 3. You are in control of the way that you feel. Nobody and no thing can control that unless you give it permission and unless you allow it to. If you remind yourself of that every day, you'll make it through this, right? No loan that doesn't close, no appraisal that comes in low, no denial that you get when you're expecting an approval can affect how you feel unless you allow it. That's something I wish I would have learned really early on. So that's my first nugget. Protect your peace. If you wake up and the first thing you do is pick up your cell phone from your nightstand, you lose. You lose. Do whatever fills your soul in the morning, and that's going to be different for everybody, but some sort of devotion, some meditation. We have our clients write out the vision of who they want to be and the life and business they want to build, and we have them listen to it every morning because the brain chases what you tell it to chase. And we call that protecting your peace. That way you can go into work and you can respond, not react. Because I'm not kidding, Kelly, and you saw me live it. Mm-hmm. I reacted for over a decade. And eventually, y'all, that gets to you. This industry will eat you alive if you allow it. But you don't have to allow it. It's not an occupational hazard, right? There is a better way to do that. And then the third thing I think would be surround yourself with community. Whether it's our coaching community or another community, find your people, find people who are striving to be more, to do things better, to stay on the cutting edge, and surround yourself with them. Because you cannot do this alone. And if you do, you'll go down faster. Surrounding yourself with community that can support you and encourage you is huge. Yeah, those are my three things. It's hard to choose three.
Those are awesome. I'm so excited about it. And I have to say, I have to do this. I mean, I'm kind of sorry, but I'm also kind of not sorry, because you were very intentional the whole time I've known you. And we're good friends, but
Sure.
The whole time I've known you, you're like, look, my goal is I'm going to have a beach house. Okay. I'm going to have a beach house, and this is going to be my thing. You don't have one beach house. You have two. But where are you right
now? I'm at the second one.
You're at the second beach house. And how long have you been working from your beach house?
Almost ever since school started back in Nathan's virtual. So it has been really fun it's part of creating a life and business you love, right? You intentionally build what you want and then live the life you want. And so I'm here for 3 weeks right now, but I've been here for a month and a half so far after summer got over. So it's really fun.
It's so many people, like, instead of living so intentionally, it's kind of like, oh, someday I'm going to get to that, or someday I'm going to do it, or someday when I retire from originating loans, or I'm not really ever sure what the end game for people is. Because I mean, we know people who make a considerable amount of money, and it's like, there's no new car. There's no new something that's going to give you back the dream that you had and the intentions that you had. And you were like, this is what I'm going to do. And then you did it. And now
a lot
you do it with joy.
I do. And a lot of it came from what I learned in coaching. A lot of it, I'm just tenacious, and I just kind of decide what I want to do and I go after it. But it's also identifying that so often people are like, if I have this next thing, I'll be happy. Right? I say, be happy now. Be happy now. Find out what it is that you want to build, go after it, and live that now. Because if you live like I did in my first 10 years of origination, you're worn out and you don't have any energy to enjoy whatever it is you're waiting on, right? So yeah, build it now and go live it. It's so fun to help encourage other people to do that now too.
Well, I love that you are living your best life. And I love
Thank you, girl.
that karmically just always pouring blessings on other people have brought blessings your way. And I just think it's extraordinary. And I'm so proud of everything that you do. And
thank you, friend.
Thank you so much for talking to our people today. And
thanks for having me.
I'm going to put her contact information here at the end.
Awesome.
Tell us one more time, how can people get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can find me on Facebook, Jenny Lewis Stoner, Instagram, Jenny L. Stoner. Reach out to me if you're interested in just chatting whether coaching would be beneficial to you. I'll just pop a link to my calendar in the chat when you reach out, and we can connect just to explore whether what we teach and how we serve and support might help you. So I'd love that opportunity.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, friend, and we'll talk to you very soon.
Okay, honey. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye.